The plague spreads, warping flesh, twisting minds, turning the world to ruin. You were not born for peace. You were forged in the dark, where only the strong survive. Plaguebound is a dark fantasy tabletop RPG where survival is brutal and mercy is a weakness. Play as the Kroghorn, mighty guardians of the wild, the Anakin, ancient Mongol monks, the Jorvik, relentless hunters, or one of many others forged in this dying world. Face horrors twisted by the plague, wield forbidden magic, stand against the darkness, or become it. Built on the Ironbound system, Plaguebound is fast, deadly, and cinematic. Use brutal combat, powerful mutations, and cunning tactics to carve your legend. The darkness is coming. The question is, will you fight it or join it? Back Plaguebound now, before it's too late.
One. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Geekout. We're going to do an interview today. We're doing WatcherDMs, DMs, and Gabriel, right? I'm saying that right.
Gabriel
I should have
Watcher,
checked.
WatcherDM. Yeah, that's me. You're Dave, right?
I checked. Yeah.
We're I'm not.
We're good. Yeah, you're right.
Cool. We're in the right place.
So, funny story about that. I actually initially spelt his name wrong on the YouTube thumbnail. So
yeah, he spelled it Susan.
Yeah, pretty much. I might as well have. All right. So, welcome everybody. Gabriel, why don't you go ahead and tell people who you are and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Gabriel Watcher. I'm a Canadian tabletop role-playing game creator. We've made 50-ish plus different role-playing game products over the last 4 years. Mostly adventures. We've got a couple indie RPG things that we've made. I'm a software developer. I lived in the United States for 40 years and then left because Canada rocks.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah. Decided to come home.
Where the news roam. So we're here. We're going to just jump right into it. We're here to celebrate that you have a Kickstarter. And that Kickstarter is for what?
Doom Desert in the Decanter of Delirium. So it's a 5e adventure targeting level 1 and 2 players. I think if you've got 6 or so players, you probably level 1 would be fine. If you're running short on players, you got 4, maybe want second level. It can be a little punchy. It's a little dangerous. And yeah, Doom Desert was our first 5e adventure that we made in 2021, I think. I did it in GM Binder back then, and it was super janky PDF that we kind of pushed out. We're like, I don't know if that's we don't know what we're doing. And over the last 4 years, we learned a lot. And so recently, I had an agreement with HOD Publishing to take something 5e that we had done over to Foundry VTT. They were going to do the Foundry VTT integration for it. And I was like, well, I've got a bunch of assets for Doom Desert because I've had it forever. We should do that. And then we started working on that. And they were like, yeah, we can't do GM Binder stuff. What are you doing, man? And I was like, oh, yeah, I never updated it. So I started updating it and putting it into InDesign and kind of revamping
it.
Yeah, by the time I was kind of halfway through, I was like, first of all, this looks really good. It's way, it's fun to look back at the stuff you've done and go oh, I've learned a lot since then. But it's really
hope that happens to me.
It's really interesting to look back at the stuff you've done, realize the things you can improve, but also see the beauty of the things you kind of got right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Doom Desert has that in it, where we came out of the experience of kind of repolishing it and being like, man, a lot of this stuff is in the original. It's core to it. We even reused much of the art that we had from the original just because it was so beautiful. Maya Babanu was the first time I was commissioning an artist, and just kind of lucked into this friend who was like did the art for it. So yeah, it's been really exciting. We brought it to Kickstarter for Zine Quest.
So what started WatcherDM? Like, what made you decide to actually dive in and actually make something? Because that's always challenging.
It's wild. Yeah, so the journey is 2018. I was running D&D in the San Francisco Bay Area for my friends. And I was like making the terrain, and I was, doing the minis, and I was having a ton of fun, and I was making my own world and my own adventures and stuff. And I always like was, I don't need published modules. Those things stink. Like nobody uses those, and like 50% right. Like 50% of DMs. But
I don't.
When I moved up here to Canada, I kind of left some of that behind. I could play online and stuff, but there was definitely this kind of gap where I was like, man, I feel like I don't have anything to like kind of creatively dig my heels into and like figure out what I'm doing. And the community up here for D&D is pretty large and pretty deep. There's the Storm Crow was like a tavern up here you could go play D&D at, and there's a really rich RPG community up here in Vancouver. And so I was like, man, I should kind of figure out what this looks like. Like, is there a way to engage with making stuff for these games that I love? And I ended up, I think, stumbling into, do you know DM Dave Hamrick?
Yes. I don't know him. I know of him. Let me rephrase that. I don't know him directly.
So
I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, at one point he had like a class, like a how to write an adventure kind of class that, it was pretty standard. Like, yeah, sign up and pay $250 and you'll get like 6 weeks of 1 hour Zoom calls or something. And so I did it, and it was fun. It was super, enlightening, and it was a lot of really good information. He's got some amazing people working on that team. And he does, and they were really able to kind of like, first of all, get us all aligned, figuring out like, what is a D&D adventure? What does it need? What's the baseline? What are the requirements? Like, one of the things that I think people don't realize when they're first imagining what an adventure writing or kind of this kind of writing is, it's a technical writing, right? You're writing an instruction manual for an expert who is supposed to use that to execute on an experience. And that's very unlike other types of writing. So they give us some really, really good insights into that sort of stuff. And they took our stuff and kind of gave us some feedback. And it was a really positive experience. It was really enjoyable. And so coming out of that, I was like, well, let me tally up my strengths. I want to do this. I want to create stuff for this space, but I don't want to, I don't want to lie to myself what I'm good at or what I'm bad at. I want to be more objective and kind of try to embrace and engage people in my life that I think would do better at the parts that I'm not good at. So I started reaching out to my friends that I play D&D with and stuff. And that's when Austin and I kind of aligned. And he was like, well, I'm a technical writer for a company out here in Kelowna, and I'm moving on from that job. And I was like, well, you could write D&D adventures with me. And so yeah, that kind of started it. Was we were just like, well, yeah, let's give it a try. And at the time, I'm a software developer, so I had a little bit of money that I could slosh towards making something. And so I was like, well, I'm going to pay the writer, I'm going to pay the artist. So I went and hunted down a good artist to help do this. And I commissioned everything, and I paid what was fair, honestly, for it, which was way more than I was ever expecting to make off of it. And I actually don't know that we've ever broken even on that, but doesn't matter. It was an amazing experience either way. I am still friends with Maya, like, whom I met all the way back then, just trying to get this book. We've worked on a couple of things now together. And yeah, Austin and I talk every day. We go for walks on Wednesdays and talk about new stuff we're going to do. So
that's awesome.
An enormous success, right? In the regard of like, my life is richer for the things I've been able to create,
100%. I totally know that feeling. I'm sick of urban fantasy. I will tell everybody I am sick of it. I've been doing it for 3 years. I'm done. But that being said, it does enrich your life having written these things and having people look at them and be like, okay, I can see them playing it and having fun with it.
Yeah, I think one of the early experiences that I had that really kind of cemented the idea that I was going to be doing this for the 4 years I've been doing it since is somebody coming back from, I think, Long Bear Valley. They had picked up, we have like one pagers, 5e1 pagers on our website that they're terse, they're punchy, they're 4-5e, and they're a whole adventure. Like, it was kind of a exercise of ours to try and condense, be that level of dense writing. And he played Long Bear Valley, and he came back and was like, dude, that's the first hex crawl I've ever run. It was amazing. My players had such a good time. And he just started spouting all these stories about what happened on the adventure. And I was like,
Okay.
man, like that group of people had an amazing night. And it's all because Austin had some cool idea about this 60-foot long barrapede in the middle of a Cascadian forest crashing through the woods. And the ideas in that are just absolutely nuts, but really, really good.
I won't lie. My adventures need to be stronger. My worlds are really good. My adventures need to be a little stronger.
We've learned a lot about adventure writing. I gotta say, like, when we started, I think I especially thought I had a pretty good beat on what made a good adventure. And I feel like even this last adventure that we wrote, we did Seven Sealed Spirits for Knave. And I came out of that being like, man, we shot our load. I think that's the best I'm ever going to do. And like, now we're writing some other stuff. And I'm like, man, no, we just learned, everything we did right there helped us to learn more about what we could do more right and to see what we could have got better, so.
We were talking about Becca. We were talking about Becca before we went live in her Kickstarter. She's in chat and she says people using the stuff is the best part of creating something.
The only reason. Everything else, nobody's in tabletop role playing games for the money. Trust.
No.
Like, doesn't make any sense.
In Ironbound, I calculated it out because I'm doing my taxes. I lost almost $5,000 doing Ironbound. And I had a pretty successful Kickstarter, in my opinion. $2,000 is pretty successful. So that tells you anything, people.
Yeah, I think one of the things about that too is like people, I think, have the perception that a successful Kickstarter is like for money, and almost exclusively from every creator that I've ever worked with, like you're really hoping that you can even break even with what the Kickstarter is bringing. And the reason you're doing the Kickstarter is not really the money so much as the exposure. What you're trying to do is get that audience large enough to have more people playing it so that after the Kickstarter, you can put your book in a few retailers and get it out to more people, and more people are talking about it. But yeah, this illusion perception that you're gonna like MCDM it and just pull in 2 million and start your own business. It's lightning in a bottle.
It happens, but it doesn't usually. And usually it happens to people who have been in the industry for 20, 30 some odd years, and they've learned how to do it.
But yeah, there's a couple of, I was in a Patreon call this morning with the guys from Goodman Games and a bunch of other creators.
They're so great.
Yeah, we do a Discord or a Zoom call every Tuesday morning for creators. And we were talking about how in kind of, the modern time, like you kind of need a certain cult of personality. There needs to be a kind of authentic parasocial relationship through social media platforms for you to be able to generate that audience. And as somebody who I never put my face on stuff, I'm always like, nah, logo, like talk to the logo. I'm busy. Like I don't have time to make a bunch of friends. And I feel like it would be disingenuous of me to imply that there's a parasocial relationship when I can't be part of it. And like, but that's needed if you're going to really scale up. People need to
Welcome
feel like they're
to
connecting with a human.
welcome to Grimwood Games. That's how Grimwood Games started. I was like, how do I advertise this thing?
Connect with this
I
guy.
was like,
He's connectable.
I'll just start talking. I'll just
Actually,
start
there we
talking
go.
to people and stream.
Absolutely.
But so let's talk about the adventure real quick so that we can get that out of the way because we have a lot of common interests, it seems. The adventure, you said it was levels 1 through, I'm sorry,
Like levels 1 and 2. Like it's
1
that
and 2.
early. It's the early game.
On the Kickstarter, it says that you're going to probably provide the capability of leveling that up if need be.
Yeah, so we have a section in the back of the book that kind of talks about how to support higher level play. We also talk about how to support playing with younger players. So it's kind of like just a
Nice.
section just covering some of those ideas because the adventure itself has pretty heavy like drug and addiction themes in it. Actually, both my writer and I have struggled with alcohol dependence in our lives, and this
Okay.
adventure kind of has some of that work in it. Like some of us coming to those realizations is built into this. So
You have a couple pages that we can take a look at and see. Let's
Sure.
go ahead and take a look at that and see what people might be getting out of this.
Yeah, sure. So actually, let me first say, if you go to the Kickstarter page, which you can search
Love it.
Doom Desert and the Decanter of Delirium, or you can
I
go to
don't have to.
WatcherDM.com.
Go to the YouTube
You know where to
channel.
go.
It's right down at the bottom.
Do that.
I put it on there.
So you can go there, and like the first line is to download a sample. The sample is like a 10-page sample, so it's pretty full. One of the things about this adventure is we really try to respect a DM's time. So we're not like going for page count, right? We're going for like how fast can you get this to your table and use it? And so this is our beautiful cover.
Let me switch real quick. Hold on one sec.
Okay.
Let me switch screens because I want to make sure everybody can see that. I was waiting for you to turn it on. There we go. All right. So this is the beautiful cover, people.
Yeah. So this is art from Maya Babinu. And yeah, it's a psychedelic 5e adventure for 4 to 6 characters of level 1 to 2. The cover represents the upside down pyramid. Are you frozen? Did I freeze? Okay, no.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah,
you're good.
So there's a pyramid hanging in the middle of this bottle. I guess I should probably tell you a little bit about the adventure here. So the setup is the party has gotten sucked into this bottle. The bottle is like a pocket dimension that belongs to, in one case, this wizard Karazar. We actually have 3 kind of setups for how to use this, but the idea is actually that the bottle is a magical item, and you could have it in any adventure, any campaign setting you want. It's just an object, right? And inside
so like a genie lamp,
like a genie lab, except inside is not a genie. It's this whole desert. It's this pocket dimension of sand, black sand. And so, yeah, the 3 setups are Karazar has it. He's like basically dealing the sand like a drug. Or the Bailiff of Bougainville has it. Basically, the cops have it and they're using it for nefarious purposes. And then the last one is you just find it in a random treasure somewhere and, good luck. We do a couple things with the book that I think are a little bit novel. Like we have our encounters like marked for what kind of pillar of play they support. So if it's an exploration encounter, you're going to see the treasure mark. If it's a combat encounter, you're going to see the sword, crown for social. The black sand itself, the thing that Karazar is dealing out, can be snorted or smoked, and it has different effects either way. Neither of them are particularly good for the party, but they can have temporary positive effects at a cost. And then we've also got some really wild tables in here. So one of the things about this adventure is it's baked off of delirium and kind of delusion. And so if you smoke the black sand, you'll get these dreams like you roll on this table, you roll a 2, an architect builds a monument for a god he no longer believes in. Or 6, the beautiful catamite pierces his face with bone slivers to keep up with the trends, right? So just really strange kind of ideas. A starving family finally finds a decent meal, the local tax collector. um, right? So then we've got
I
this
like that.
adventure hook is set up is like the Karazar storyline, which has some, kind of character read aloud text. The actual map for the inside of the bottle is this graph here. And
Okay.
then this is the PDF. So, am I wrong? Oh, I'm in the
You're
print
good.
one. I'm in the print
You're in
one,
the
so none of
print
the
one.
links are set up, which is too bad.
Okay.
But we linked the hell out of this document. So if you're
Good.
using the digital version, anything that's pink, basically, you'll be able to click on to go to.
Links
Got
are
the general
important.
features of the adventure. This is the random encounters table. And then we've got a couple of alternate encounters. The idea with this is a lot of the random encounters are non-combat. They're just like kind of trying to soak you into the world that you're in. You're in this black sand desert inside of a red sky.
You just gave
And
me an
so
idea. So
good. Want to share?
Ironbound. I have an adventure where it's in a casino, and I was wondering how to do random encounters without having combat. And you just gave me an idea of having random encounters of social interactions.
Absolutely. Yeah. So your random encounter table is going to have all kinds of stuff on it. But then also we were thinking in many cases the dungeon master might want to, oh, I rolled the same thing twice. Or
Right.
I really love this. I want this to happen now. And so the idea was that these alternate encounters would allow the DM to kind of plop in the alternate for anything that they rolled they didn't feel was vibing or something they wanted to juice up. So Dog Days of Summer is an encounter about an educated dog whose sled is being pulled by 8 feral humans. And he demands tribute of food, salt, or water. And if he's denied, he attacks and he causes his feral humans to attack as well. Or Django Undead. You meet this dead man dragging his own coffin across the desert. And he stops and asks for a drink. And if you give him water, he'll ask for another. And if you give him another glass, he'll just walk on. But if he doesn't, he'll fight you. If you kill him and go and check the coffin, there's another him inside who gets out, throws his corpse in the coffin, and continues dragging it across the desert. So, like, those are kind of the ideas that are in here. It's just this wild stuff. And this is
real quick, because it's in the desert. Do you have like some sort of exhaustion type rules, or are you just using the standard D&D exhaustion?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So we actually did not add any new rules per se, aside from like the drug effects and stuff. We're just using the basic travel. Like water is hard to find, but you need water. Like that's kind of the pitch, right? I don't know that 5e necessarily is like if you don't drink enough water. Oh, you know what? Hey, everybody, drink water. Stay hydrated, kids. Yeah, we didn't really change anything about the mechanics for that, but it is implied that you'll run out. So yeah, then we get into the actual locations. So we've got the bottleneck. So this is you falling down the bottle into the desert. The City of Silence is a kind of cyclopean alien city in the bottle that has like acoustic effects. So if you go in there, make any noise, it will kind of thunder you out. And it is inhabited by what we call whispering harpies. These are harpies who are completely silent. Their luring song is like an anti-song, so it's just kind of like a silence that draws you in. And so they're in there. And then we've got the water cave. There's thirsty cultists that are draining a river devil that they've trapped in their cave of water. So they keep puncturing him and getting the water out of him to drink. So that's one of the sources for water you can get in the adventure. And again, you can see here we've got, crying in the wilderness. That's an exploration encounter. Water merchant. That's a social encounter. A saint, a spring, a sacrilege. That's a combat encounter. So that's kind of how we organize the book. Uh, we put all the stat blocks are right in place where you would want them. I did a bunch of this art. So the bottle, the river devil, this guy. The Amnesiac Library is another interesting location where the party can like learn some things about the desert and its inhabitants, but it comes with a risk. So as you're studying, a spirit of forgetfulness may haunt you and cause you to lose some spell slots or some proficiency bonuses. And yeah, this is, I think, probably one of the coolest creatures I've ever seen. Is Suni or Sunny. She is a sun gecko god. So she circles the top of the bottle, providing all the heat and light in the pocket dimension.
Mm.
And because she is the source of all heat and light within the dimension, if she changes direction, things change with that, like time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So there's some pretty weird puzzles and stuff in here. We've got a sphinx with a riddle that the party can
Oh, you have
try
a
and solve.
desert. If you don't have a sphinx, what's the point?
Yeah, what are you doing, right? Exactly. But one of the key, I think, locations to this is the ruins of Serapho, and mostly because you'll be running into these dreams all over the place. So basically, the idea is when people smoke the black sand, they go into this delirium, but also their spirit appears inside the desert and tries to like destroy stuff inside the desert. And so they're kind of like these dream ghosts. And what's really happening there is that the ruins of Serapho is called the City of Broken Dreams. It was like the an ancient, human empire that kind of crumbled under the weight of its own aspirations. And that is what the black sand is this kind of broken dream dust. So anyway, some wild stuff in there.
Nice.
More art. Yeah, this you're kind of getting the preview of the whole shebang here. This is the whole thing. I think it's 28
That's awesome.
pages. Thanks. Yeah.
So, roughly, how long do you think it will? How long would you have to play in it? Like, roughly, how long to do the adventure?
Yeah, so we've run it a bunch of times. I think it usually takes between 4 to 6 hours. So we usually do it in like 2-3 hour sessions. Um, Now
Okay.
that said, a party is more than able to like wander around in this desert and just kind of do stuff for a while because it's pretty open ended. Like escaping the bottle is really the adventure. So if you don't want to escape the bottle and you just want to hike around in there, it's kind of a good place to like chuck stuff. If you've got adventures that are like, well, it's a desert adventure, throw it in the bottle. You can play in here for quite a while. We even had this idea where like if the bottle tipped over, right, the sands grow long and stuff that was buried under kind of emerges, and now you've got new locations and stuff in the bottle. So there's some ideas in there for how you can do stuff like that. But the core adventure is going to probably be about 2-3 hour sessions.
Nice. Okay. So short. Couple one shots.
Yeah, a couple one shots. Great palate cleanser.
Um. So. And then. So that is really cool. Austin has some pretty good ideas from what it seems like.
Yeah, he's got a ton of really wild things. It's funny. We've been playing together now for a while. I'm gonna stop screen sharing.
Please go ahead.
We've been playing together for a while, and he always surprises me with how wild his ideas are. And it was only like 2 years ago that we were talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I can't really visualize stuff." And I was like, "Oh no way!" So he's got aphantasia, and I
Right
think
here.
that okay, yeah, I
I
think
don't.
that somehow, right, this has manifested in him as like a thing where he can just like he can stitch words together that visually have no place together. And they
That's
do this
awesome.
weird stuff where it's like, man, that's a really crazy idea. And so kind of a lot of our process has been him saying wild stuff and then me being like, well, how would I draw that? and then trying to figure out how to visualize it. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It seems really cool. P- your Kickstarter is doing pretty well from what I saw, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think we did all right. So far, we had a $500 stretch goal. So one of the things that I had built back when we kind of started this were some STL file models for like 3D printing, and because a friend of mine does that, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. It'll be fun. Uh, and so we had a couple of those like ready to go, and I was like, well, I'll just put them on a stretch goals, so we can incentivize whatever. And so we hit all those, and then I was like, hey, Romy, so we hit all of our goals. And they were like, well, let me make some more. So we're actually getting a Suni model as well when we hit 750. I'm just going to say when, because we should totally hit 750. We're at like 600, right? It's great.
22 days to go. You're at 412. You'll hit it.
Exactly. And I think like the other side of that, right, is like, I didn't do any marketing. I haven't spent any money on trying to tell people about this. It's just been, who do we know? Who can we send email to? This, right, which is like hang out with somebody who wants to talk about this cool stuff we're doing. And so like for me, the $100 goal was like enough interest for me to print it anyway, and just be like, we've got these prints, so we're gonna go sell them at cons, or I've got a distributor.
Yeah. I did the same thing with Ironbound. I set it at $500, and I was like, that's enough for me to feel like I could get this thing off the ground. And I made, and and I am pushing it with Plaguebound. Plaguebound, I set it at 3,000. We'll see how that does. But I am actually making the books and sending the books out myself, so there is a cost to that.
You say you're making the books yourself? Like, because
I'm not
doing your own print run.
I'm doing my own print run. Yeah.
I was going to say that would be another thing we have in common. I started doing bookbinding as a hobby because of this. It's fun. It's really fun. It doesn't, I mean, gosh, I think I've got something here. It's not, I'm not going to go pro or anything. Like, there's just so much work involved. But making little artifact objects that you just kind of made yourself, like I am now just in love with making little sewn zines. I got a slightly better printer so I can print, my own little zines and stuff. And it's so much fun. Best hobby in the world.
I'm afraid to do it because when I do something, my ADHD puts me into hyper focus mode, and then I get really deep into it. That's what happened with 3D printing.
I have a whole room over there that's 3D printing stuff that I haven't used in months because I kind of got messy, and I was like, I don't have time for this. I'm going to go hyper focus on something else.
There's the Kickstarter for you, Neil. You could also get it from the WatcherDM page too. It's on there too.
I just realized I think you're seeing chats that I'm not because you're on Twitch and I'm not.
I've been sharing them on screen though when they've been important. So
cool. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have both, so I've been haven't found a good way of haven't found a good way of sharing both chats to the guest. I might actually write a program to do it because it's starting to annoy me.
You should let me know because I'd be down to help with that. That sounds like fun.
My husband is the same way. We go months and get 1 billion 3D prints, and then we get 0 3D printed stuff for 8 months. I'm in the 0 printed, but then one of my friends asked me to print a whole bunch of dragons, so I've kind of been hesitating because I have the backer kit release this month. So I'm like, if I do it this month, I might get distracted. I don't want that. So
yeah, managing my time and attention has become like goal number 1 for the last few months, just trying to get my stuff. I've actually been working really hard on my art practice. So like I've been drawing since I was a kid, and I'm okay, And then like months ago, I was like, God, if I actually applied myself and stopped getting distracted and jerking around, I could probably like do the thing, like make some legit illustration. So for the last three months now, every morning I'm doing like at least 10 minutes of reference sketching, and every evening another 10 minutes of reference sketching, just gesture stuff. But I'm like trying to actually, do the thing. Oh, thank you so
I went to
much, Mr.
I went to
Blofeld.
school. I went to school for animation, and I
Oh,
was
that's so
hoping it
cool.
would help. It would help. I was hoping it would teach me how to draw, but then I realized after I got my degree, animators don't draw. We draw circles, and the hire artists to do the finishing up work most of the time.
That's fair. I mean, if you had to draw all the animation, your hand would just fall off, right? Like it's so
Right.
much. Like that you end up hiring an army of tweeners anyway, just because there's so many frames.
That's true. I haven't animated in years. I don't even know if I could anymore. Circles are hard. Circles are hard.
Circles are hard. That's fair. You know what? The thing that they always say in the training now that I'm like, I have the hardest time figuring out is like they want you to draw like from here. Like the idea is use your arm. And I have been doing this for 40 years.
And the
So
reason
it's
why they
really
do
hard.
that is because this creates tendonitis. This does not.
Well, there's a ton of reasons, but like this right here, you can't draw a straight line, right? Your wrist
No, that too.
curves almost immediately.
Yeah.
And so like each kind of tension you go up, it does that. Anyway, yeah, weird stuff I'm learning and having to unlearn.
I love art.
It's pretty fun.
I mean, I was definitely taught how to draw. I'm just not. I would say I'm a cartoon drawer. I can't draw
That's awesome.
like I want to do. I can draw Mickey Mouse very well.
I think it's one of the things I've been really impressed with in the TTRPG space, especially. Some of my favorite creators, JP Couvert, Slow Quest,
Yeah, JP
Bodhi from
Couvert,
Slow Quest. Yeah. Like they're not trying to do fine art, they're just trying to make something that's gonna bring some joy to the table. And I think that's such a better goal. And
100%.
I suffer like you do. I'm like, I really want to be able to do these crazy digital paintings that these guys are doing for the cover of these 5 ebooks. It's like, I'm just not there. I'm probably not going to get there. It would take a career, professional exercise, all that stuff to get there. And maybe I might someday just for fun, but like in the meantime, I shouldn't let that stop me from making stuff. Find something that I can be happy with, that I can publish. And that's kind of where I've gotten to. Like, I think we were talking before stream about my little bookmarks. By the way, guys, if you go to WatcherDM on itch, you can download a bunch of other stuff for free. One of those things is these bookmarks. And so like doing little maps, bookmark maps, with these little crazy kooky things on them, and then your whole little dungeon on the back. And like, I drew that in a night, like no big deal. Cranked it out, sent it out there, and people get to play my little thing, and they get to have like, they know where their place is in their book. So I don't know, that's fun. I like making
it's
stuff
great.
like this.
They're awesome, and you should definitely.
This is another.
You're going to a convention soon. You should definitely make sure you have enough of them.
This is another one we made here. So this is Kung Flurry.
Kung Fu Flurry.
Yeah. So we made this. We made it for the 1-page RPG jam, I think, last year.
Okay.
It's a super wild game. It's a duet Kung Fu RPG where you use a deck of cards for resolving combat. And the person who loses a flurry, loses like the current laid cards, has to balance a certain amount of cards on a pivot, like a bottle. And when the cards fall off the pivot, that person is like knocked out. And so, what convention am I going to? I'm going to Terminal City Tabletop Convention in Vancouver. And if you can come, you should come because it's going to be great. I'm going to be running the Composed Dream Games booth. So there'll be a ton of different games there. Dave from Magnum Galaxy Games is going to be there running it with me. And my writer, Austin, is going to be running some games in the RPG room.
If it wasn't if it wasn't 9 hours north, I might come.
No, I feel it. I feel it. And actually, it's like all these great conventions are going on in the US and I can't come anymore. So that's kind of cool. I found out this last month, or I guess it was January, end of January. I tried to go visit my sister in LA and they were like, you can't come into the United States anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm not coming in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Watch out for your past, kids. Don't mess around. They won't let you back in.
Yeah. You're only about an hour away from me, so hour and a half away from me. So I'm in Maine. So
okay.
I'm not that far from the Canadian border.
I see. Yep. Well, if you're looking for a con in March, the same time as this one, Breakout Con is going on in Toronto, and that promises to be amazing. Composed Dream Games is also going to be there, which is why I'm running the booth at Terminal City Con. So
I'm going to a con. I'm going to a con at the end of the month down in New Jersey called EcclesiaCon. It's a very small con that's being run by DM Tales in his church because he's a pastor, a Baptist pastor.
That's cool.
And so he's running it in the bottom of his church to help charity. So I'm looking forward to that one.
That is cool.
So what else do you want people to know about you and your company? Because your company's really cool. You guys have some really cool things.
Yeah, I like to think so. Thanks. I appreciate it. One thing I can talk about that everybody should know, if I can find one that's out of the box. Probably not. No, I'm not going to be able to pull it up. Go look for Seven Sealed Spirits. So, Knave 2nd edition came out earlier this year.
Yep.
And first of all, the game is awesome. If you've played it, If you haven't played it, you should. It's really good. For what it is, it's a super light kind of D&D clone. But they had a game jam. Ben Milton put on a game jam for writing adventures for it. And so we wrote an adventure for it. And while we were doing that, we had this super wild experience where normally our adventures are pretty contained. It's like, okay, you're here, go here, do thing. It's adventure writing. It's normal.
Right.
But this adventure ended up turning into a whole micro campaign. There's so much going on in this thing. I don't know if you know Red Mage DM.
I know of
another YouTuber.
Of it, but I don't think I've met them.
Yeah, so he did a review of. So first of all, Seven Sealed Spirits, go look for it because it has a 16-page free version. That was the one we submitted to the game jam. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of density of information. It's wild. But we've got that in print now because our last Kickstarter was successful. So we printed out a bunch of zines of this. I got to do all the art in this one, so it was a lot of fun. It was really entertaining.
What you're out of stock on your website, by the way.
What's that?
You're out of stock on
it. Really? I thought for the print one?
Yeah, for the Seven Sealed Spirits.
Now do Seven Sealed Spirits -print. I don't know why it should have updated.
-print.
Okay. I'm gonna mess with that after the stream. I don't need to.
No problem. I understand.
Anyway, you can also just go pick that up on Drive-Thru-RPG or Itch. Like I said,
oh, there it is. I got it. I'm gonna share it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, the one on drive-through and itch, you can just download the demo, and that's 16 pages. That's pay what you want. It's free. Go check it out. And I would encourage everybody to pick it up and play it and muck around with it and see some of the ideas in there, because it's like we kind of took everything we could about Knave, every single rule we could find, and we were like, okay, how can we like incorporate this into the adventure? So there's rules in there for or there's like information in there on like how to do the warfare rules with the dwarves. We've got the crafting rules, like so you can find the monster parts and like the different monster parts do different things. We use the whole boon system. Like that's kind of the whole theme of the adventure is these 7 godlings that will grant you boons if you align with them. So if you free them, the island changes, and then you've got these boons. We've got some high level dungeons in it, so it like goes from like, oh, we started on this little island at level 1, and then by the end you might be level 7, 8, even 9, like dealing with inside the volcano, like fighting this magma worm. It's insane. It's super fun. You guys should check it out.
I'm definitely gonna check it out. That sounds fun.
Yeah, cool.
Even though I don't play Knave or 5e, I think some of your stuff is really cool, and definitely.
Yeah, we've honestly the 5e stuff, like like I said, this adventure was 4 years old, right? We wrote Doom Desert originally 4 years ago. So like in the last 2 years, we haven't made anything for 5e. It's all been like Shadow Dark, Knave. Gosh, what else have we done? My brain is melting. I can't. Well, we've made like a bunch of like indie RPGs. So yeah, some of those they're really good. Like Quest Crawl is probably our most popular game. Now, I want to warn everyone before they jump. It has some AI art in it because it was made like when that had just happened and we weren't freaking out about it yet. And I didn't really feel good about like taking it down after people had already like engaged with it and were really enjoying it. So it's still up. You can go get it. Quest Crawl's really, really good. I am planning on redoing it with human made art. And when I finish that, everybody who has bought it in the last couple years since it's been out is going to get that upgrade for free. So that's another thing about. Oh, you have Knave? Nice, nice. Another thing about Doom Desert is when this Kickstarter resolves, everybody who owns Doom Desert, the original version, is just going to get their version updated. So the digital version is immediately going to go out to the thousands of people at this point who have it.
Totally
Which I thought
understand that.
Yeah, I thought that was like a cool way to kind of give back to the community who supported us along the way.
I do very similar things. My thing is though, I provide the PDF for free if you buy the book type deal.
Sure.
Because
yeah, I think
Yeah, go ahead.
I think all the places where we sell the physical book, we provide the PDF. I will have to double check that that's the case. I use WooCommerce for my website, so like, who knows what the hell that thing is doing most of the time. But I'll be honest, like, people do not frequently buy stuff on our website. Like, as much as I would love for that to be the case, the vast majority of our audience purchases stuff on DriveThruRPG or Itch, and then the rest of our audience, the people who really engage with our stuff, usually buy through Composed Dream Games, at conventions, or at friendly local game stores where they push them. I did send 7 Sealed Spirits to Runehammer this month. So 7 Sealed Spirits will be making its American debut, I believe, in a game store, and that game store is Runehammer in Philadelphia. So if you happen to be in Philly, go say hi to Hankerin.
Thinking about taking an extra day and going to see Hankerin's place.
The new store
and saying hi to him.
As hell, dude. Sounds so dope. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It does sound dope. It's not far from where I'm going to be in New Jersey, so I'm thinking about taking like an extra day and going to see it. I don't think I will because I have to work, but I'm debating about it. I just shared
make it part of your work.
Publisher.
Thank you. Yeah. By work, do you mean like stream?
No, but by work I mean actually my full-time work. No, I work full-time
Yep.
retail,
Okay.
so
Never mind.
I
Day
wish
job is day job,
I
man.
wish this was I wish this was my full-time job, but this doesn't pay the bills. So
Yeah, that's rough.
let's just say
Well, at
streaming is
least we get to
very
do it
similar to
remotely.
RPGs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I think somebody hit me up the other day and was like, "Oh, you need to get monetized on YouTube," and I was like, "I don't want to get monetized on. What are you talking about? That sounds insane." Like, too
I'm
much
not
work.
monetized on YouTube. I want to be, but I'm not. So if you're
I
following me
don't
on
know.
Twitch and you're not following me on YouTube, go follow me on YouTube too.
I don't know if I'd be into that. You know, it's like everybody I know who like makes YouTube content. It's like an extra full time job plus plus.
Oh
Like,
yes,
man,
it
I
is.
could not
I
hang.
am.
Like,
That's why most of my YouTube content is just my live streams.
yeah, streaming, totally, and like streaming makes sense. I mean, in my mind, hanging out on Discord and playing with people is like streaming, right? It's like kind of they're very similar acts, right? Like, um, if I'm playing with 5 or 6 players, I'm doing about as well as the average streamer on a given
Mhm.
night, and we might be playing for 2-3 hours. Like, that's pretty successful in the context of streaming. It just doesn't stick around for very long, and I'm not going to deal with the realities of like broadcasting as actual play and stuff like that. I've done a couple of things on my YouTube channel, but mostly I use it so that I have adventure guides. So I think like YouTube, I started with YouTube in 2005, like when it came out. My buddy Cobalt Groove was like one of the very first YouTubers. Like, he knew Jod. Like, they met, and he was like, "Oh yeah, check out this new software I'm using." And so we were doing backflip videos. I was recording him doing backflips, like way back before Google bought it. And I was like, okay, yeah, like this is neat. I guess I'll put up a video every once in a while. And so I was doing like karaoke videos for fun and this and that. And then like, for a while there, I was doing like some pretty political videos because I was like, we gotta change stuff. And that was a mistake. Never talk about
um,
politics on the internet.
no, you don't.
Yeah.
Unless games with Dave does, but he takes a brutal punch for that too.
If you can deal with the punch, I mean, it drives engagement. I'm sure people are going to
It
interact.
sure
Like,
does.
even people screaming at you is interaction, and that's probably the worst part about the internet's mechanism right now.
Unfortunately, it's also the best reactions when you get somebody screaming at you, because usually causes somebody else to scream at you, which causes somebody else to scream at you. And that really just gives you money. So,
It's so weird. It is so weird.
it's horrible.
Musical
What
Road
was
says
I
it's
was
a
gonna
lot of
say?
work. Do you have a YouTube channel? It's Becca, right?
Yeah, Becca, I think she
Sorry, I just
does. I think it's I have it on the YouTube video with her interview, I'm sure. So if you go check
okay.
that out, you
Well,
should
I think I've
you
got
should
that
see
up
it.
still. I went and backed your Kickstarter, by the way, Becca. Like, good looking good. Like, I'm in. Pretty cool stuff. So good job.
Oh yeah, it's the Beg, Borrow, and Steal Productions YouTube that she kind of runs.
Oh,
It's all map making
cool.
stuff, so
Nice.
should be cool.
I'll go check it out. As a fellow cartographer, I respect the hell out of it. I think that's really good stuff. Nice.
There was something I was going to say, and I completely forgot what it was.
I'm sorry.
I love when that happens. Oh, I have trouble writing and designing actual YouTube like videos. But you get me on a live stream and I'm fine. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny. So like public speaking, like no script, public speaking, I'm fine.
No
I
problem.
totally excel. I have no shame. I don't really care. I have a great voice for projection. My face
Yeah.
is made for radio, so I'm good there. But reading a script,
I
do it.
just lock
Writing
up.
a script, forget about it. And like, so writing in general, actually. So when we were talking earlier about how WatcherDM started, the reason I hired Austin was because I didn't feel like I was a strong enough writer. Like, my ideas might be good, but like technical writing for an adventure and having like those really crazy juicy interactions where the words make your mind explode. I wanted that. That's like the whole value as far as I'm concerned. So I was like, if I can't do that, I don't think I should be writing them. I've written 2 or 3 of our adventures. Most of them are way old. I did Cave of the Slumbering Crawlers like in the last year or two. This for Shadow Dark. And I wrote that myself. And like every time I look, I also did Barrow of the Raging Storm, which is another Shadow Dark adventure. I really like Shadow Dark, actually. I think
Shadow Dark's great, and it's so great.
And making stuff for it.
She's so nice too, Kelsey.
Oh yeah, Kelsey's awesome. In fact, Kelsey's the inspiration for the adventure guides, right? So like, the fact that she would make these adventure guides on her YouTube channel with all that stuff in them, I was like, oh, well, I should totally do that too. Yeah, you should definitely pick it up and play it. Tell you what, Blawface, hit me up, Gabriel at WatcherDM.com. Email me. I'll set up a game. We'll play Shadow Dark together online. I don't care if you're from Massachusetts.
If you can find a copy, you should definitely buy it. It's so hard to get a copy. Yeah, they just had it. And
did it sell out already?
No, it looks like you can still order it right now.
Okay, order it.
But I'm hoping they have. Hey, Frog, how you doing? Yeah, so I've learned a lot about technical writing, and my grammar is horrible when I write. Horrible. It's the worst. So like editors are my friend. So I have Ironbound is going through 3 different editors just because I cannot make. So I released something for Easy D6 called Grimwood City. It's very similar to Ironbound. Oh, cool. It had grammar errors all over the place, and I didn't catch them. I hired an editor. I should have hired another one. And it was kind of embarrassing. So I learned from my lesson. Now we're going to get 3 editors to look at it. Ooh, has the same shirt. I paused my game.
Shirt. Yeah, that's like, I gotta say, like, so I haven't hired an editor that wasn't a dear friend of mine. And I've done actually most of the editing myself. And I think again, one of the points of doing all of this was so that I could kind of learn all the parts of the process that I really like. I feel like all of it is really interesting if you can kind of engage with it. And so like editing is one of those places where like, I'm not a super strong writer, but I know what's cool and I know what sounds good. And so learning over the years to be able to come back to Austin with things and be like, hey, this is great, but like, can we do this in half the words? Right. Or like, this is using really weak language. Can we bring it up? Is a very different editing experience than like grammar checks, but also have become very good at grammar checks because I'm learning to like read with that kind of eye. The editing before that was done by my partner, Alicia Yo. She's done some editing for us and she had that. So like, I've been very lucky in that I've been able to hang out with somebody who's like attention to detail and her taste is fantastic. So like anytime we're working on something, I'll be like, honey, will you come look at my thing? And like, she'll immediately be like, that color's wrong. This doesn't make any sense. You should rewrite that. And it's like, it takes a little, it's taken some time for me to like get into the space of being like, yes, give me feedback. Yes. Tell me how bad it is so that I can like go in with that information and apply it without feeling personal about it. But it's been awesome.
Is 100% the best way to take feedback is getting feedback that's actually helpful. Because the feedback
it's hard to give.
It's good. I like it. Is not helpful.
Not helpful. Especially from an editor, right? Their entire job is to tell you like you missed a spot. Right? Like,
look, you have this date here and there in this page here, it's completely different. Yeah. The feedback comes from a place of love. I crave bad feedback because I think that, well, not bad like giving bad feedback, like bad feedback about the actual thing that I'm creating, because it is so critical to get that kind of like, no, you know what, this isn't working, and not just yeah, this was fun. Yeah, I have about 6 people who are extremely hard on me when giving feedback, but it's not criticism, it's help. Exactly. There's a difference between criticism and feedback, in my opinion.
Well, and I think as a creator too, like, it's important to be in the right mental state for critique. And like, I was seeing something the other day about people like being like, don't give unsolicited critique, right? Like, don't give unsolicited advice, especially about creative works, because it can be really hard to deal with emotionally. But like, if you're in the space to get it and you're like, please give me the hard feedback, like, being able to give it is such a skill. It's such an amazing skill to be able to like just analyze something and be like, this looks wrong, the spacing is wrong, the text here doesn't make any sense, or this is too long. Like that
You got
kind
too
of
much
really
negative
good
space
analysis
here.
and feedback is
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, like anything useful. Super good. Frog's words of advice: don't have your co-writer be your editor if they know how story is supposed to go. Yeah, that's true. That's super true. Having I think it's called a beta reader, right? Where they're like, they don't know anything about it,
Anything about it?
and then they read it and kind of give you feedback on like, does this make sense after? It's kind of like turning your drawing upside down. If you're illustrating, right? They say to like draw a little bit and then turn it upside down and then continue drawing with it upside down, so you can kind of reset how your brain has gotten used to the shape of things.
I've found rereading stuff backwards from the last page back seems to help me, because
Really
it breaks
cool.
up
That's
that
really cool.
it breaks up that sequencing. So
Yeah,
because
that's a really good
you're
idea.
in the sequence of, hey, this goes after this, this goes after goes this. By reading it backwards, you're separating out that frequency.
Yeah.
So that does help too. At least helps me.
So cool.
This has been amazing. We're at an hour. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Thank you so much for coming on. Stick around. I want to say goodbye to you properly. Just so everybody knows, on the channel will be this coming Friday. We will have Ironbound with my Chaos crew who create chaos. If you want to see a funny show, come see that. This coming Sunday, I have episode 6 of Plaguebound. They just went past the monastery. They're gonna go and run into something that's gonna change their thoughts on the plague. So I'm looking forward to that. So come take a look at that. That's 5:30 Eastern time on Sunday. And next week I have a special guest on Geekout 2. So we have another interview, 4 interviews, one right after the other. I can't wait. And it's Jason. He makes he runs the blog for Shadow Main. I want to say Shadow Main. It's SHADOMAIN. It's like domain with shadow kind of mixed together. He does a blog there, so he's going to be talking about that, and he has a book coming out with useful hints. So we're going to talk about that next week on Geek Out. You guys have a most wonderful day, and remember, chaos is what runs the dice. Have a great one, guys. Bye all.
Thanks for gaming, guys.